Hey everyone, Tech Steve here, and you've probably been looking at an OLED television, Sony in particular. So I want to show you guys this one right here. This is the Sony A80K, which is a OLED television, but the interesting thing that you might not know is that LG makes the panels. And if you're looking for the A95K or the A95L, Samsung makes those QD-OLED panels. But the thing is this TV a good buy? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know. And I'll leave you with a little hint here. I was very impressed with this television. So let's jump right into it. Now, since this is a OLED TV, I will tell you that it has very good contrast ratio, as you can see right here. And I also did some motion tests, and it's going to be pretty smooth for watching gaming and sporting events. And I also want to test the blooming on this television, and I didn't actually see any that would stand out that make you think that it's going to have a lot of glow whenever watching a movie. If you had a chance to check out the Samsung QD-OLED that I showed you guys on a previous video, you'll notice that it did have some noticeable blooming when in filmmaker mode. But I want to compare these TVs side by side using the movie mode instead, and the blooming was pretty much eliminated on the Samsung. But I will tell you that the Sony has a cooler look over the Samsung having more of a warmer look, which makes me think, is the L series with the extra brightness gonna be affected with blooming as well? Now, if you decide to go with the new A80L, keep in mind you're going to get about 10% more brightness. Addition to that, you do get a new gaming mode and you move from Bluetooth 4.2 over to Bluetooth 5.0. So chances are you're going to get the same picture but brighter on HDR content, but you have to justify if those features are worth waiting for. Now, when it comes to the A95L, there are some major changes. For example, it's 200% brighter, and it's the first TV that Sony introduced that now has a Dolby Vision gaming center that can support the true 120 Hz. Addition to that, it is available in a 77-inch. So I think for a lot of people who want Sony in OLED, this may be the #1 seller for people that's on the higher end tier of buying a television. The gaming mode is going to be a game changer for all the new L series. For example, you can be able to see your VRR settings, your motion blur, your black levels, and a few other features that you don't get in the K series. But when it comes to just regular watching TV, again, we're looking at value on this video. If you're watching this on an HDR display, which this video is recorded in, you can see that the colors are stunning, the black levels are great, and because of that Sony color science, I definitely think you're going to be very satisfied with the picture quality on this A80K. And saving yourself $300 to $500 depends on what size you get. It's definitely going to be an improvement over other TVs that you might own right now. When you turn around the A80K, you can see that it has this nice checkerboard look on the back of it, and in between there's some slots so it can get air ventilations. It also has a fiber optic output for stereo systems. It has 4 HDMI inputs, 2 of them are 60 Hz, and 2 of them are HDMI 2.1. But one thing that stands out to me on all these new models is that the one HDMI 2.1 input is used for eARC to run over to a soundbar, meaning if you're like me, I have a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, I literally had to get a selector or I would have to use a 60 Hz connection on the back of the TV. And at this point of the game, this level of TV, it should have 4 HDMI 2.1s in my opinion. This TV does have the Wi-Fi input, or you can use the LAN connection, you have a service port, and it does use the ATSC 3.0 tuner on all of them so you can get the next gen over-the-air content. Now when it comes to OLED, viewing angles is not an issue. Whether you're on the right-hand side of the television, the left-hand side, or viewing it from below, this TV is ideal for someone who has a large room with furniture on either side, or if they plan on mounting it up high on top of a fireplace or mantle. Even though the Sony A80K doesn't have that new gaming menu, Sony did take some initiative to update the firmware on most of their TVs, so if you plug in a PS5, it'll automatically detect it and move you from that standard HDMI over to the enhanced so you can get 4K gaming. But there's still some nuances that I'll show you guys in just a minute. Now I switched over to the Xbox so we can see some menus that you can't see on your PS5, but you can see that it will do 4K at 120 Hz. One of the things that stand out is that Dolby Vision is not checked off because it will downgrade your signal to 60 Hz except for the new A95L. So what you still have to do is go into the menu and move it over from that enhanced mode that gives you the 4K over to your Dolby Vision, but you have a choice. Do you want variable refresh rate or Dolby Vision? And for some reason, I think all this should be redesigned where you just turn on HDMI and it does everything all at one shot. And I'm hoping in the new 95L that it'll take this in consideration in that gaming menu, which I haven't had a chance to try. And another thing, I was able to get 1440p and 60 frames per second, but no 120. And when I was finally able to override the system, it did do 1080 at 120, which makes you think a 4K TV should be able to support everything below. But this is a common thing with most newer TVs today because for some reason, they don't think you need 1440p. So that's what the speakers sound like, but keep in mind, this is recording. I'm not using 5 microphones to give you that surround sound effect, but I will tell you this A80K does have 2 subwoofers and 3 speakers to give you a simulated surround sound. And there's the outputs if you want to add a sound bar. But if you want to go to the new A80L, that actually supports this new spatial surround. So if you get the compatible headphones, you can put these on, and then whenever you hook it up to Bluetooth, it can actually put you inside of the sound, like immersive, so you get that 3D effect whenever you look around and things like that. And that might be a selling point for you. So if you want that feature, definitely wait for the L series. This TV is ran off the Google operating system that allows you to select all your applications that you want, plus there's a Google store where you can download additional applications. On the main menu, you have all kinds of different selections that you can make based off the applications that are built into the TV, and a lot of them are some that you use on a daily basis. Like all Google TVs, once you put in your Gmail account address, it can actually make sure that all the voice commands can connect to your home or any type of features that you use. But overall, if you ever used a Google TV, it's going to be pretty much the same experience, but Sony did put their own overlays on it, so the menu is very smooth, fast, and snappy to get through. Now, the newer TV is going to come out with Google 12, and the biggest thing that I can find reading up on things is that it's going to have a feature where it can match your content. And what that means to you, if you put on a certain program, then the processor will basically adjust itself, just like VRR is on for gaming, to make sure that that content looks much smoother. And no one's saying it, but this TV might get that update, but we'll see in the future what Sony has to offer to the public. And here's the remote control that comes with it. It's pretty simple as far as the Sony is concerned. You have your TV button, you have your inputs, navigation, as well as your volume up and down, channel up and down, and your Google search command button. Then down here, you have some basic menus and some hotkeys at the bottom. And I did take a look at the remote control that comes with the new A95L, and I think they could have made a better statement because this is going to be a flagship TV, so I think it deserved a remote control that has more functionality, but that's just me. So here's what it comes down to. Last year when this A80K came out, a lot of people wanted the television, and now you can get it at a savings. But with all the new features, will entice you to spend more money to get the L series. I mean, you're talking about a lot more brightness. You're talking about a gaming zone that Sony has never offered. And you're talking about spatial headphone capabilities that they didn't have before as well. Is that enough to push you over the edge to make that decision to pay retail price again? In my opinion, for most people, I think the K series is an excellent looking TV. It's available now, and with the heavy discounts, maybe it's the one for you. If you don't mind, leave me a comment because I'd like to know what you guys think. Is it worth spending more money to get the new L series? Because that's what Sony is banking on. And I will tell you, it's going to be a great looking television series that's coming out. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!